Amy Harper wasn't just quiet, she was invisible. At 26, she had mastered the art of fading into the background. Every night she clocked into her graveyard shift at Hallmark Warehouse, a sprawling labyrinth of steel shelves, fluorescent lights, and constant hums of conveyor belts. For 5 years, her routine was as unyielding as the clock she punched at exactly 8 p.m. and left at 4 a.m. She didn't mind. Silence suited her. Her colleagues occasionally whispered about her. She's so strange. Does she even have a life outside this place? Amy pretended not to hear. She focused on her tasks, loading crates, scanning barcodes, and keeping her head down. That night started no differently. By midnight, Amy was midway through organizing the supply section when the sound of rapid footsteps echoed through the warehouse. She froze, scanning the shadows between the towering racks of pallets. A woman stumbled into view, her clothes torn, blood smeared on her forehead. She was trembling as she collapsed onto her knees near Amy. "Help me," the woman gasped, her voice a ragged whisper. "Please, call someone. They're coming." Amy's heart thudded in her chest, but she didn't hesitate. Grabbing the landline on the wall, she dialed the warehouse's emergency line. The moment she hit the second digit, the lights flickered violently before plunging the entire space into darkness. The phone crackled and went dead. The warehouse door groaned open, and 3 figures entered, silhouetted against the dim emergency lights. They were huge, each over 6 feet tall, dressed in long black coats. The leader stepped forward, his voice like gravel. "Hand her over, girl," he growled. Amy's hand tightened on the phone receiver. "Stay away," she warned, though her voice wavered. The men chuckled darkly. Amy grabbed the woman's hand. "Follow me," she whispered urgently. The two darted through the aisles, the men's heavy boots echoing behind them. Amy pulled open the door to the warehouse's rarely used panic room, shoving the woman inside. "Lock the door," Amy commanded. The woman, who shakily introduced herself as Teresa, pleaded, "Don't go out there, they'll kill you." Amy knelt before Teresa, her expression calm, but her voice carrying a strange edge. "They won't kill me. Stay here. Don't open this door until I return." Teresa stared at her. "You'll die." Amy's lips curved into a small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. They gleamed an unnatural crimson in the faint light. "I've waited a long time for this," Amy murmured. "It's been too long since I hunted." Before Teresa could respond, Amy closed the door and locked it from the outside. The 3 men split up, scanning the aisles for their prey. First victim. One of the men, a towering brute with a scar across his face, stalked down the packaging supplies aisle. He grinned as he heard a faint rustle. "Come out, little mouse," he taunted, his voice echoing. From the corner of his eye, he saw a shadow dart between the shelves. He lunged only to find empty air. A low growl rumbled behind him. He turned, heart pounding. Amy stepped into view, or what used to be Amy. Standing over 6 feet tall, her human features had morphed into something monstrous. Thick fur covered her body, her hands ended in razor-sharp claws, and her eyes glowed red. Her jaw stretched into a snarl, revealing gleaming fangs. The man tried to swing his knife, but she was faster. With a feral leap, she pinned him against the shelf, her claws raking across his throat. He gargled his last breath as blood sprayed across the metal racks. Amy howled, the sound primal and terrifying. The second man, armed with a crowbar, moved cautiously through the electronics section. He heard the howl and shivered. "Where are you, freak?" he shouted, his voice shaking. Suddenly, boxes toppled from the top shelf, crashing down around him. He spun, only to see a massive shadow barreling toward him. Amy slammed into him with bone-crushing force, sending him sprawling to the ground. He swung the crowbar wildly, but she caught it mid-swing, snapping it in half as if it were a twig. She grinned, her fangs gleaming. Not fast enough. With one swift motion, she drove her claws into his chest. He gasped, liquid pooling in his mouth as his eyes went wide with terror. Third victim. The leader, sensing the danger, tried to make his way back to the exit. He ran through the pallet racks, scanning for his comrades. "Damn it," he hissed. "Where are you?" As he neared the loading dock, he heard soft footsteps behind him. "Leaving so soon?" Amy's guttural voice mocked. He whirled around, his gun aimed. He fired twice, but she was already gone, her movements too fast for the human eye. She dropped from above, landing behind him. Before he could react, her clawed hand snatched the gun and crushed it. The man backed away, fear etched on his face. "What the hell are you?" Amy's grin was wolfish. "The last thing you'll ever see." She lunged, her claws slicing through him with deadly precision. His screams echoed briefly before the warehouse fell silent. Amy returned to the panic room, blood staining her fur. She knocked on the door. "It's me," she called. Teresa hesitated, then unlocked the door. She gasped as Amy stepped in, her monstrous form still partially intact. Her red eyes glowed in the dim light. "Stay back," Teresa whispered, retreating into the corner. Amy tilted her head, her voice calm yet menacing. "You have two choices." Teresa trembled. What?" Amy stepped closer, her claws retracting slightly. "I can give you a quick death, or..." She crouched, her crimson gaze locking onto Teresa's. "You can become like me." 1 week later, Amy clocked in at 8 p.m. sharp, as always. The warehouse was quiet. She adjusted her gloves, her demeanor as calm as ever. A shadow moved near the entrance. Amy turned to see Teresa walk in, her posture confident and her eyes gleaming with the same crimson hue. Teresa smiled, revealing sharp fangs. Amy smirked. "Welcome to the night shift." Teresa chuckled. "Let's hunt." The end.
If you would like to hear more amazing stories, be sure to subscribe, like, share, and hit that notification button.